Question now in the name of Deputy Maureen O'Sullivan.
The Government considered the circumstances of women and girls who resided in the laundries at its meeting on the 14th of June 2011 and decided that it was essential as a first step to fully establish the true facts and circumstances relating to the Magdalene Laundries. A number of actions were agreed. This included the setting up of an Inter-Departmental Committee to establish the facts of state involvement with the Magdalene Laundries, to clarify any state interaction and to produce a narrative detailing such interaction. The committee, under the independent chairmanship of Senator Martin Magdalenes, has submitted an interim progress report, and their final report is expected in the middle of this year. In addition, the Government also decided that I and Minister of State with responsibility for disability, equality, mental health and older people, Kathleen Inch TD, should meet with the religious congregations and groups representing former residents of the Magdalene Laundries to discuss, amongst other things, the question of availability of records, those still in the care of the religious congregations, and facilitating a restorative and reconciliation process. I am pleased to say that meetings with all concerned have taken place. Indeed, they took place some time ago. Progress has been made on the various issues, including the question of a restorative and reconciliation process between individuals who had been in such institutions and the orders which ran the institutions in question. Matters have not yet been finalised, but I do hope to be in a position to make an announcement in the near future. While some issues can and are being progressed, there are other issues which are dependent on the outcome of the work of the Inter-Departmental Committee. I am conscious of the need to progress matters as quickly as possible. However, it is important to emphasise that we are in a process which is seeking to fully establish the facts. It is still too early at this stage to predict what the outcomes might be, and I look forward to receiving the committee's report when the very important work in which it is engaged has been concluded.
Thank you, Minister. And Deputy Maureen O'Sullivan.
Okay, thank you, Minister, and thank you for that. And it sounds as if there is progress being made, but I think you'd have to agree that justice has been delayed far too long for these ladies. The Irish Human Rights Commission, the United Nations Commission Against Torture, recommended the apology, redress, and that the beginning will be made to facilitate restorative justice. And not one thing has happened on any of those. There hasn't been even the apology from state, from church, from religious orders, families or society. I think the importance is, time is of the essence because of the age of the ladies. And you were horrified when I suggested before that there could have been a delaying tactic around this, and I was glad to hear that horror. As soon as that report is available mid-year, are you ready then to commence the implementation of the apology, the redress and the restorative justice process?
Thank you, Deputy Minister.
If I could remind the Deputy that the Irish Human Rights Commission, in their assessment of human rights issues arising in relation to the Magdalene Laundry, stated on November 2010 in their recommendations, so I quote, "Statutory mechanism be established to investigate the matters advanced by JFM," that's Justice for Magdalenes, "and appropriate cases grant redress where warranted. Such a mechanism should first examine the extent of the State's involvement in and responsibility for the girls and women entering the laundries, conditions in the laundries, the manner in which girls and women left the laundries, and end-of-life issues for those who remained. The event of state involvement or responsibility being established, that statutory mechanism then advanced to conducting a larger-scale review of what occurred. The approach being taken with the Inter-Departmental Committee is consistent with the recommendations of the Human Rights Commission. As to the observations of the UN Committee Against Torture in May and June 2011, they recommended that there should be, and I quote, "thorough investigation to all allegations of torture and other cruel, inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment that were allegedly committed in the Magdalene Laundries. In appropriate cases, prosecute and punish the perpetrators, and victims should have, quote, an enforceable right to compensation. Persons seeking an investigation with a view to a criminal prosecution should and can make complaint to An Garda Síochána. And as far as I know, no such complaint has been made. Under our legal system, a right to compensation for a tort is enforceable through civil proceedings in the courts. And again, as far as I know, no such proceedings have been taken. Now, it's of considerable importance that the work that is undertaken by Senator Magdalenes proceed so that we get a full and clear narrative. With regard to the Deputy's complaint about delays in dealing with this matter, the issue of the Magdalene Laundries and the concerns surrounding those who resided within them and the manner in which they were treated, those concerns have been in the public forum for many years, and nothing was done about it. Within a short few weeks of being in government, in June of last year, this matter was addressed fully by Cabinet. Proposals were adopted. By July, the Inter-Departmental Committee was established. It's been doing very substantial work. Together with my colleague Kathleen Lynch, I have met with the religious orders. I've met with the representative groups and others, indeed, who are concerned about those who lived in the laundries. It is not a simple issue, I should say to the Deputy. Some of those who were within the laundries were there for a short few weeks, some for 1 or 2 years, some for many years. Many of the women who ended up being resident in the laundries as late teenagers or in their early 20s came through all sorts of different sources. Some indeed were left there by their families in circumstances which stated no involvement of any description. So this is not a simple issue, but we are doing our best to address it in a thorough, comprehensive and sensitive way and engaging with all sides who are concerned about it.
Very briefly.
I accept that more has been done in the past year than up to this. I totally accept that. But many of these ladies were deprived of dignity in their lives. They're also being deprived of dignity in their deaths. The gravestone up in Glasnevin, the names don't correlate with the names that were given into the department. The memorial in Bohermore in Galway doesn't even have any names on it. The cross up at the Mecklenburg Asylum, Magdalene Laundry place, has the word penitent on it. So there's so much indignity for these ladies, both in life and in death. So I just come back to the question that as soon as the report is available, are you in a position to start the process of redress, apology, whatever?
Thank you, Deputy Minister.
I'm not going to prejudge what's in the report. The reason that work is being done is so that there's a full, accurate narrative that people can rely on as being truthful and correct. The issues the Deputy raises aren't issues directly derived from the conduct of the state. There are particular issues, for example, in the context of the religious orders. There are a number of women who entered the Magdalene Laundries and who indeed remained there throughout their lives, who are now elderly and are being cared for by the religious orders in circumstances in which there are no family members who are caring for them. This is a very complicated background. It isn't a simple, straightforward situation. There are, of course, women who feel that they were very badly treated and who believe that their lives have been substantially blighted by that treatment. And the report of the Inter-Departmental Committee will provide us with the additional information we need. That report will be published, it will be considered by Government, and appropriate decisions will be made arising out of it.
Next question in the name of Deputy